He came to work every day, like it still mattered. No one touched him. Colleagues didn't call for meetings, didn't ask for help, didn't chat. He had long ago become an empty seat at the desk, existing because he was listed. Once, he had been cheerful, attentive, even ambitious. Then he'd given up, tired, stopped trying. Then he just stopped. Mistakes in reports became the norm. Overdue assignments became the rule. He was nervous at first, then he got over it. He worked just enough to keep from getting fired, though he suspected they should have been fired long ago. But there was no firing. There was her, the boss. She was older, more focused, always in black. No yelling, no rudeness. Just silent, icy precision in everything. She didn't scold, she didn't write. But one glance from her and conversations would fall silent, fingers hovering over keyboards. Everyone knew that if she looked, she remembered. He thought she'd just forgotten about him, or left it as a statistical error. Until that day. The morning began as it always did, with being late, with coffee from the machine, with a blank screen. He turned on the monitor, opened YouTube immediately out of habit, hid the tab when the assistant walked by. Then, idle again. Inside, it felt like he was just waiting for something to happen. It did. On his lunch break, she walked up to his desk. She didn't say anything, just stood up, looked at it, turned around, walked away. He realized he had to follow her. They walked in silence, across the floor, through the service area, to an elevator he'd never seen before. She put her hand to the sensor. The elevator opened. He followed. There were no buttons. They went down, deep, not a single sound, only her breathing and his own fear. The room was white, no furniture, smooth floor, even light. She stood in the middle, he closer to the wall. Silence for a few seconds. Then movement. He felt his body become different. The muscles loosened. The body became lighter. Space became higher. Shoes came off. His shirt slipped off. Everything became huge. Walls like skyscrapers. The floor like a field. She's like a tower. He became small. Not figuratively, physically. So tiny that she could pick him up with 2 fingers. And she did. She held it in the palm of her hand. She didn't speak. She looked at it, with interest, like an object, as a thing, as a resource, finally cleansed of the illusion of identity. She took it back to the office. But she didn't return it to her desk. It now lived in her office. In the bottom drawer of her desk was arranged a capsule glass, with a floor that vibrated slightly with her every movement. There was a desk, tiny, a monitor, built into the wall. Power, automatic. Lights, constant. It worked, day after day. No breaks, no sleep. He didn't know exactly what he was doing. Sorting, checking, analyzing. Everything was preset. His hands moved automatically. Mistakes were impossible. Not because he'd gotten better, because now he had no margin for error. Sometimes she looked, reached for it in the palm of her hand, laid it on the table, just scrutinized it. She could turn it over with one phalanx of her finger. She could clench it in her fist. Once I sat him on the edge of a teacup and watched him afraid to fall in. It wasn't cruelty. It was power. He was no longer an employee. He was an example, a reminder she showed to others. One day, one of the trainees also became lazy. After a brief conversation with her, he disappeared, and a neighbor appeared in the cell next to him. Now there are 2 of them. They work side by side. They don't talk.